Apart from being a director, I'm also an acting coach. And one of the actors I work with frequently is Pêpê Rapazote. You might have seen him on the third season of Narcos, which aired on Netflix last month. I had a little chat with him this afternoon. I hope you enjoy.
No, mira, tú y tu puto pelo tienen 10 segundos para salir de aquí. 10.
9.
9.
8.
¿Te parece chistoso, hijo de puta?
7.
7.
6.
6.
5. 4.
4.
3, 2, 1.
I want you. How do you get into the mindset of someone like Chepe Santacruz? How do you play someone so dangerous?
Okay, so I do believe that the first thing is for you to try to understand that it's just another line of business, just any line of business. It's killing, just like planting, I don't know, carrots, something like that. You got to make it very natural.
It's part of the business.
It's part of the business, and it didn't come overnight. You really had to get used to it. You know, they started trafficking marijuana, and then they went on to cocaine, and then probably there were some killings here and there. At first in the jungle with the farmers, then with the labs in the jungle as well. So, I mean, when you get to this point, I'm pretty positive he's already been around. Killing a lot of. He's used to it. So it's you gotta try. First of all, you gotta try to get in the mindset. You gotta try to get to know the culture in Colombia, how the men behaved, and how the men. How the families, how it's supposed to work, so that you almost don't see any women in this season and the previous ones. You know, it's a man's business, it's a man's world, and so you got to really get to know this kind of culture. Really got to you get to know the business a little, you know. And then after that, after the build-up of all that, then it comes a little more easily. The work of the actor trying to get in the character. Of course, it's a lot more than this, but you talk about the danger of the character, and that's it. I do believe that I usually think about the Brazilian examples of the kids who are 9 years old, and all they want to become is soldiers. The boys who, get the cocaine around, and at the age of 12, they already killed at least once if they want to become soldiers, and it's a great honor and pride, and you get the girls, and you're 12, so it comes naturally. Yeah. At the age of 7, you already want to kill someone, just to show everyone else, hey, I'm already grown up, It's got to be something like that.
So Chepe must have had that kind of background when he was younger.
I mean, he went to college.
He had education, yes.
He went to college, so I do think that, well, he came from poor families in Cali. He went to the State University, but his friends were sort of, small-time gangsters. Although Gilberto, he worked in a drugstore. It was his daily job, So his day job was at a drugstore. So they were really small time. At night, probably they would steal some radios or something like car radios or something like that, or maybe a house or
business as usual.
Business as usual. So it wasn't like they were small time bandits. Till probably the early 20s. And that's when they started everything.
One of the most now famous scenes from the season 3 is the shootout in the beauty salon. Can you tell us how it was to shoot that scene?
It was great. Did
you realize it was going to be such a memorable scene?
No, No, I didn't. And I read it. The countdown was already a very, and the you know, the scene, the sides, the lines were already very,
Good.
it was very good. But I didn't know how it was gonna be played out. The cameras and where they were gonna come out of the bad guys, the other bad guys. We're all bad guys, but the thing it's one of the good things about Narcos, could be good, could be bad, is there's a lot of improv. Sometimes we had the episodes, the scenes, a few days before, and they were poorly translated.
Okay.
And so we had to translate them again, us, the actors, and we got together so the lines would match and perfect. So we would go to the director, try to get in touch with them. He was shooting other scenes, and sometimes we couldn't get in touch with them. So it happened that the very same day of the shooting, at 8 a.m., the director would say, okay, this is lousy text, so we're going to translate this again. Hey, we already did it. No, we're going to do it again. I'm going to do it with your help. So we had to memorize the text in half an hour. It was crazy. And one of the good things about it is the improv. And regarding that specific scene at the barbershop, or the salon, it's not exactly a barbershop, but was that, there was a lot of things building up. It took a long time to shoot that scene because it had a lot of blood and shootout and stunts and, a lot of killing, a lot of shots. So it was, I don't know, probably 6 hours. In 6 hours, you can really build a lot of things. Especially, I remember the countdown. We were, the 9, 8, 7. So how am I going to get to 1? Is it going to be just boring, just 9, 8, 7, 7, 6, I loved the 3, 2, 1. Let's get it over with.
So that was your choice?
5. Yeah.
Okay, that was cool.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm just gonna fucking kill you right now. Just get it over with. It's 10 is too long. The first person to mention it was the director, which was cool. And then I decided I would do it angrily. I would do it, let's get it over with. 3, 2, 1, let's go crazy. Let's go crazy. So it's wonderful to build things as they come and as they appear, and
it's a creative process.
It's a very creative process, and we have a lot of freedom to do it, us actors. But there's the downside to it, which is a lot of if you're not sure of yourself. I don't mean cocky. I mean sure of yourself, sure of what you're doing. And if you don't know the lines by heart, which doesn't mean a lot when you have to translate it all over again that very same morning. But you got to really be sure of your character and what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to get lost, which can be bad. But for me, it was good. I think I got the character. And at those moments, I was sure of myself.
Okay, so is that your favorite Chepe scene from the entire season, or you have another?
Well, some were edited out. I have this scene I love. We were coming back. I was coming back to New York after the meeting on episode 1, with Gilberto saying, "Hey, we got 6 months to
go to prison."
Okay, and I don't want to end it, and so I come back and I get home, and my wife is there with a very query decorator, very okay, just put it no 2 feet to the side, yeah, right there. And I'm coming home with my regular overalls and a t-shirt underneath, and he says, "Oh, I said you workers gotta go through the back, okay?" And I look at him and I say in Spanish, because I didn't speak English, "I don't know what you said, but I didn't like it." didn't you hear me? Something like that. That was how he does. And then my wife comes in, hey, have you met my husband? And he freaks out. Something like that. Get the fuck out of here. Something like that. And it had a lot more to it, because after that I have a conversation with my wife. I'm pissed at having to wrap everything up in 6 months. I don't want to leave. And she tells me, hey, you're Chepe Santacruz. Let's make these last 6 months worthwhile. This town is gonna remember who Chepe Santacruz is. And he comes back again to life, just it reminds me of the scene I had previously on episode 1 when he says, I'm gonna fuck the Statue of Liberty from behind. I'm gonna something like that. So it's the coming back of that scene with my wife is exactly that. Yes, everyone will remember who Chepe Santacruz is in this town. And he comes back to life just like that. He grabs a Uzi and all that. So and he's swearing all over. And then there's still a third moment in that scene, because his wife's nephew, he comes and he says, hey, auntie, will you give me $100 for a slice of pizza? This is the 92, even now. $100? Hey, because, hey, that guy at the lab, he's an asshole. And I was swearing like a motherfucker 5 minutes before, and I go to him with a Uzi and say, hey, watch that mouth, okay? It's just like, he said asshole. So you have a little comedy at the end. So that was an amazing scene.
I'd love to see that.
And that was Andy Baiz, the director, told me that was my favorite scene of season 3. I don't know what happened. Anyway, that was a pretty good scene with a lot of ups and downs, a good arc, and 3 little arcs inside of it. So and it really defined how it defines how Chepe is, and it has a little comedy before and after. So it's perfect.
Do you have any besides Chepe, of course? Do you have any characters that you enjoyed watching in this season?
Oh, I loved watching everyone, but especially the Godfathers, the capos.
Okay.
Gilberto, the first episodes. I loved Miguel. He's really cold, mean and cold. Francisco Denis. I used to call him, my character used to call him Limon. He was the only one because he was so extrovert, and it was like Francisco Denis, Miguel was his little brother, so he was, pretty comfortable with saying, shut the fuck up, Limon, something like that. I loved he was really cold-blooded. And I loved Pacho because he was Chepe's protege, and we had a couple more scenes too. Very good ones, and especially one when they're saying goodbye, their last scene in prison. And it was very, very good. It was very heartwarming. They're saying goodbye, and they realize they're probably seeing each other for the last time. And he's telling Pacho, hey, I'm going to get out of here. You want to come with me?
He does.
And he doesn't reply. And I kiss him on a cheek. I have this very long look.
It's kind of a goodbye. It's
a goodbye.
Yeah, because he gets killed off.
Yeah.
Chepe, speaking of fellow actors, who do you enjoy working with more during this season? Is there anyone in particular that you'd like to?
I love the crew. They're very Latinos. So it's very, very relaxing to work with Portuguese, Spanish, or South American crews. It's a party. But so I loved Andy Baiz, the director. But and I loved the director of photography, Luis Sanz. It was great. It was really great. It was, but of course the actors, especially the Godfathers. The Godfathers are great, and we became very good friends. We still have this WhatsApp group called Narcos Never Forget. Very, cheesy name, but the truth is we write every day. We've been, and there was one interview, Francisco Denis, in which Francisco Denis told that he said that my best friends now are my brothers from Narcos, because he's from Venezuela and he's been traveling all over the world because, well, he can't stay in Venezuela. There's nothing going on there except for violence. So he's been a little in Mexico, then LA, and so every time, well, his friends are literally the virtual ones, the ones on, not virtual, but we talk through over the phone every day. Which is cool.
Okay. Who would you have liked to work with that you didn't in Narcos?
Pedro Pascal.
Okay.
And Pedro Pascal says that about everyone else. It's one of those, if you think about it, it's like the heroes is on one side and the villains on the other, and they never meet. Mm-hmm. It happened with Wagner Moura, with Pablo Escobar. Yeah. You never met him. Yeah. Not even after, it was after the shootout. It's hey, there's the body of the motherfucker I've been trying to take down. Right? They never meet, so it's a pity. So you have a good cast. I think you have a great cast, but the thing is, most of them almost never meet. It was just very separate storylines, right?
Yeah, good guys and bad guys.
Basically. Good guys and bad guys.
We're almost done. Do you have any advice to any young actors who are trying to pave their way into stardom?
That's the $1 million. Well, it's not. It's an advice. So if they were good, you would pay for them, right? They wouldn't be free. I do think that you got to be very self-conscious. You got to be self-conscious of what you do and what you're worth, and you got to study a lot and play a lot and do a lot of theater plays, long and classic theater plays, because you have it all. You don't do scene study. Just that's too short for you to build a character from scratch. The whole arc. Just go with the theater play, even if it doesn't pay anything. But it's the best way for you to learn a lot of things, and you learn them every day while you're rehearsing, and after that on stage. Every show is a different show. If you do that for 3 months, you're gonna get somewhere. I'm pretty sure you're gonna learn a lot more than anything else. And you need luck. Everyone says that. With an agent, with in the right place at the right time. Which is very, very important. That means a little luck, but as well as always remember this phrase I love. Mies van der Rohe had a very famous architect from the 20s and 30s and the 40s. Had this some very famous sentences, phrases about this, and even Monet. But the one I want to say is Picasso. Picasso said about inspiration, and this goes with talent. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of sentences saying that, this is 10% inspiration, 90% transpiration. Okay. You got to work a lot. Picasso had this way of saying it, which was beautiful. When inspiration comes, it will find me working.
Oh,
okay. So its inspiration is nothing but you tried everything, you've always been working, so this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. And when you think it's some eureka, some light that just, it's not. Your brain already realized that every other way doesn't work because you tried it before. Yeah. So suddenly you think that's, no, it's one of the few I haven't tried it yet. And if I hadn't done it before, so work. It's not about talent. You can have, if you can have a sparkle, you can have a little something, but if you don't work a lot, it's not gonna work.
Okay. Final question. Do you have any future projects? No?
Well, yes. Right now I'm shooting There are some other things going on probably after that, but right now I'm shooting a movie called Operation Finale in Argentina, Buenos Aires, until December 7, and I'm going to be there. It has Oscar Isaac in it. It's Michael White's movie, the director of Golden Compass, and Oscar Isaac, Sir Ben Kingsley, and it's about the escape of Adolf Eichmann from the Nazi Germany to Buenos Aires, and then the kidnapping of Adolf Eichmann by the Mossad, by the Israeli Mossad, it's a huge adventure. It was the first great operation by the Mossad, and they were 12 years after him, and they found him and they kidnapped him, totally against the law. But if you're talking about one of the responsible one of the responsible people for killing 6 million Jews in the Second World War, what is a little kidnap here? Right?
Yeah. Bending the rules, yes.
Yeah, bending the rules.
Okay, thank you, Pêpê.
Thank you.
And I'll see you next time.
Thank you very much for watching this video. I sincerely hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, remember to like it and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much, and bye.